There comes a moment in life when you realize that being the nice one has cost you more than it has given. You've smiled when you were tired, agreed when your heart screamed no, and carried the weight of others while silently drowning inside. But what if I told you that true kindness does not mean losing yourself? That real compassion begins with protecting your own peace first. This is not just a story about kindness. It's about reclaiming your worth, setting boundaries, and learning that saying no can be the most loving thing you ever do for yourself. Kindness is often celebrated as the purest expression of humanity. We are told to be gentle, to forgive, to be available, to always extend a helping hand. And when we do, people admire us. They say we have a big heart. But what they don't see is the hidden weight that comes with it. The late nights spent listening when you yourself were broken. The moments you said yes because you were too afraid to say no. The times you sacrificed your peace just to keep the peace for others. Slowly, this kind of kindness doesn't feel beautiful anymore. It feels heavy. It begins to feel like chains disguised as love. And the scariest part is that no one notices. Because you've trained the world to believe you are fine, even when you are not. People often see your smile and assume it means you are happy. They see your constant availability and mistake it for strength. But behind that smile is exhaustion. Behind that, yes, is a heart that quietly whispers, no. You've convinced yourself that being endlessly friendly is your role, your duty, your identity. But every time you ignore your own needs, you betray yourself a little more. And eventually you begin to wonder, who am I if I'm always adjusting, always bending, always shrinking just to fit what others need from me? This is where kindness transforms into self-neglect. Not because you lack love, but because you've forgotten that love must also include yourself. There's a deep difference between kindness rooted in love and kindness rooted in fear. Love sets boundaries, protects energy, and still cares deeply. Fear, on the other hand, sacrifices too much, hoping to be accepted, hoping not to be abandoned. That's why you keep saying yes when your heart aches to say no. That's why you let people overstep, thinking it makes you good. But in truth, it only makes you invisible. You cannot build real connection by shrinking yourself. You cannot keep pouring from an empty cup and call it kindness. True compassion requires strength, a strength that refuses to let love become weakness. One of the most painful lessons in life is realizing that not everyone will value your heart. You may give endlessly, yet some people will take and disappear. They won't thank you. They won't remember your sacrifices. They will simply move on, leaving you wondering what you did wrong. But the truth is, you didn't do anything wrong. You just gave your best to the wrong people. Not everyone deserves access to your soul. Not everyone understands the weight of your time, your effort, your care. And when they don't, it is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reminder that you must choose more carefully who you give yourself to. Here's the reality: you teach people how to treat you not by what you say, but by what you allow. When you let people drain your energy and walk away without consequence, you send a silent message that says, I don't value myself enough to protect my space. And once people believe that, they keep taking. Not because they are always cruel, but because you have shown them it is okay. Every time you silence your own needs, every time you let exhaustion pass as normal, you reinforce the cycle. But the moment you decide to honor yourself, to say no when needed, the world around you begins to shift. Because kindness without self-respect isn't kindness. It's surrender. Sometimes we mistake overgiving for kindness. We think that letting others overstep our boundaries is generosity. But in truth, it's not kindness. It's self-betrayal. You don't do anyone a favor by losing yourself. You don't have to explain every time you need rest. You don't owe your peace to people who only show up when it benefits them. The illusion of being the nice one often hides our deepest wounds. We smile so no one sees the ache. We agree so no one leaves us. We give so much, not out of pure love, but out of fear of being unwanted. That is not kindness. It's survival disguised as sweetness. It's dangerous when we stop checking in with ourselves, when we ignore the quiet ache in our chest, when we dismiss our own exhaustion as something normal. It is not normal to feel like your kindness is killing you slowly. It is not normal to always be the one reaching out, the one sacrificing, the one carrying everything, and still feel invisible. That's not love. That's not friendship. That's not community. That's self-destruction wrapped in the mask of being friendly. Real kindness does not demand you bleed to prove you care. Real kindness allows you to love others while still protecting yourself, saying, no doesn't make you cruel. It makes you whole. You can be warm and still refuse to overextend. You can be friendly and still protect your peace. And yes, some people will leave when you stop overgiving. But the truth is, they were never truly there for you. They were there for what you could give them. Let them go. The ones who truly value you will not disappear when you set boundaries. They will not withdraw when you say no. They will respect your space, appreciate your effort, and never confuse your worth with your usefulness. That is the difference between being surrounded by people and being truly loved. When you begin to honor yourself, something powerful happens. You start recognizing your needs, your dreams, your energy. You no longer pour yourself out for shallow relationships that only survive because of your effort. Instead, you become intentional. You choose quality over quantity, depth over distraction, peace over performance. This doesn't mean you're closed off. It means you're healing. It means you're learning that not every connection deserves your light. And when you make that shift, you begin to attract people who value your presence, not just your usefulness. The world needs your kindness, but it doesn't need you to destroy yourself in the process. Kindness must have a backbone. It must be rooted in self-respect, not fear. There is a pain that comes from giving too much and realizing it was never enough. A quiet heaviness that builds when you keep showing up for people who wouldn't notice if you stopped. And yet you keep giving because somewhere inside you fear that saying no will make you unkind. But true kindness isn't about self-erasure. It's about being strong enough to protect your heart while still offering love. When you live from that truth, your kindness no longer weakens you, it empowers you. When you become the person who always says yes, who always bends, who always carries the weight for others, people begin to expect it. Not because they are always ungrateful, but because you've taught them this is who you are. And over time, your role becomes fixed, the dependable one, the flexible one, the endlessly available one. But inside, the resentment builds. Every ignored need, every brushed off feeling, every unspoken no gathers quietly in your chest. You smile, but the heaviness grows. And one day, you realize you're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because you've been carrying everyone else's expectations while silencing your own. It's easy to think boundaries mean you're shutting people out, but that's not true. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks. They allow love in, but they also keep harm away. Saying, this is not okay, is not cruelty, it's clarity. Protecting your time does not make you selfish, it makes you wise. You can be generous without being drained. You can be loving without being endlessly forgiving. Boundaries don't kill relationships. They reveal which ones were real to begin with, because the right people will never be offended by your need for respect. So many of us confuse love with approval. We think if we are kind enough, flexible enough, agreeable enough, then people will finally love us the way we long to be loved. But real love does not demand that you break yourself to earn it. Real love honors your no as much as your yes. Real love respects your limits. When someone withdraws the moment you stop overgiving, that is not love, it is convenience. And the sooner you see that, the sooner you free yourself from the endless chase for approval. You are already worthy, already enough. No one's opinion can change that truth. The danger of trying to be everything for everyone is that you lose yourself in the process. You lose your spark, the very essence that makes you unique. You become a shadow of your own soul, dimmed by the constant effort to please. And the world misses out on the real. The one with dreams, passions, depth, and brilliance. The more you erase yourself to fit others' needs, the more invisible you become. But here's the truth. You were not created to be a mirror of everyone's expectations. You were created to shine as yourself. And the moment you reclaim that spark, everything begins to change. Why do we overextend? Why do we keep giving when we're empty? Because somewhere deep down, we've believed the lie that our worth is transactional, that we matter only as long as we are useful, that our place in people's lives depends on what we can offer. But that is false. Your value does not come from what you do. It comes from who you are. You matter simply because you exist. You are valuable when you are resting. You are important even when you are unavailable. You are lovable even when you say no. Worth is not earned, it is inherent. One of the hardest truths to accept is that not everyone will meet you halfway. You can keep pouring, keep checking in, keep sacrificing, and still feel like it's never enough. That's because some relationships only survive on your effort. You carry the weight while they walk freely. You water the connection while they simply enjoy the shade. But love, friendship, and community are not meant to be one-sided. Real connection is mutual. It gives as much as it takes. And if you're always the one carrying the heavier load, it's time to ask yourself, is this love or is this convenience? So often guilt becomes the compass that guides us. We say yes because we don't want to feel guilty. We overextend because we don't want others to think we're selfish. But guilt is not a guide. It's a trap. It convinces you that protecting yourself is wrong, when in reality, it's the most necessary thing you can do. The truth is, guilt and kindness are not the same. Guilt drains you, kindness nourishes you. And every time you act from guilt, you are not practicing compassion. You are practicing fear. The day you stop letting guilt drive your choices is the day you finally step into freedom. Your body keeps the score of every ignored boundary. The fatigue that lingers, the tension in your chest, the heaviness in your bones. It's not just stress, it's your body speaking. It's saying, I'm tired of being the only one trying. Too often we silence those signals, convincing ourselves we just need to push harder. But exhaustion is not something to normalize. It's a warning. When your body whispers, listen. When it screams, stop. Ignoring yourself is not an act of love. It's a slow form of self-destruction. True kindness honors your body as much as it honors others. Beyond your body, your intuition also speaks. That quiet whisper that says, this doesn't feel right. That uneasy feeling when you know you're being taken for granted. For too long, you've brushed it aside because you didn't want to seem rude or difficult or unkind. But intuition is not your enemy. It is your protector. It tells you when to step back, when to pause, when to walk away. Ignoring it doesn't make you kinder. It only makes you more vulnerable to harm. Trusting yourself is the first step to healing. And when you honor your intuition, you begin to rebuild the bridge back to your own soul. At the root of overgiving is fear. The fear of losing people, of being unloved, of ending up alone. And so we stretch ourselves thinner and thinner, hoping our yes will keep people close. But here's the truth. If someone's love depends on you abandoning yourself, then it's not love worth keeping. The right people won't leave when you say no. The right people won't disappear when you set boundaries. The right people will never measure your value by your sacrifice. Fear will make you cling to those who drain you. Love will empower you to release them. And in that release, you will find peace. When you finally stop chasing approval, something shifts. You begin to see clearly who truly values you and who only values what you can give. Some people will fade away when you stop overextending. Let them. Their absence is not a loss. It's a revelation. It shows you they were never truly there for you, only for your availability. The freedom of letting go is realizing you don't have to carry people who refuse to walk beside you. Love doesn't need to be begged for. Respect doesn't need to be earned by self-erasure. What is meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself. For so long, you've believed strength meant carrying it all, smiling through the pain, staying silent when it hurt. But that's not strength. That's survival. Real strength is choosing yourself, even when it disappoints others. Real strength is setting boundaries and standing firm in them. It's saying no with calmness, not anger. It's walking away from what drains you without apology. True strength doesn't come from holding everything together. It comes from letting go of what was never yours to hold. And once you embrace that, you begin to live with a quiet, unshakable power that no one can take away. The journey back to yourself is not about shutting the world out. It's about welcoming yourself back in. You begin to notice your dreams again, to feel your desires again, to trust your heart again. You stop trying to be everything to everyone, and instead, you become everything you were meant to be, whole grounded, at peace. You no longer confuse constant availability with love, nor do you confuse endless sacrifice with worth. You finally see that your presence is valuable, even when it's limited. And the people who truly love you will honor that wholeness, not demand you abandon it. Real love is not threatened by your boundaries. It is strengthened by them. It does not vanish when you say, "I can't right now." It doesn't demand that you break to prove your care. Real love is patient. It is reciprocal. It respects your limits because it values your well-being. When you embrace this truth, you stop chasing shallow connections and start nurturing relationships built on mutual care. You stop watering deserts and begin planting gardens where your soul can flourish. The right people will not fear your boundaries. They will feel safe within them. That is how love was always meant to be. Kindness is not about endless availability or self-erasure. It is not about smiling through exhaustion or sacrificing your peace for approval. True kindness is powerful. It has a backbone. It flows from self-respect. It allows you to love others deeply without losing yourself in the process. And when you embody that kind of kindness, you no longer live for applause. You live in alignment. You no longer bend until you break. You stand tall with grace. The world needs your compassion, but it needs you whole. Protect your time. Honor your energy. Value your soul. Because when you choose yourself, your kindness becomes unstoppable. If this message inspired you, don't forget to like this video and visit our channel for more uplifting and powerful stories that remind you of your worth.